the man's voice was a residual of what it once was, a raspy croak.
"Oh, you can't be sure of that, Mr. Brody. You can never be sure."
His shaking hands reached out to Finn, making signs that he needed a cigarette. Finn pulled one out of his inner coat pocket and lit it for him. The light of the match made a shocking show of warmth and otherworldliness in the midst of this clawing damp that reminded one of prisons and dungeons. The damp was so complete, so chilling, that Finn had to fight off the illogical flicker of fear running up his spine that whispered to him that he might never grasp the cozy, homey feel of a fire in the fireplace ever again. He shook his head to clear those thoughts out of his mind.
"All right, Miles, tell me what you know. I've been searching for a remnant of the old crew." "Old crew, eh? For someone so certain that those who were after me are dead and buried, why would you have the need to find one of us?"
The old man might be paranoid and anxious, but his mind still worked like a steel trap. At least sometimes.
"We have reason to believe that those in charge might have left, let's just say, an heir or two,"
said Finn, searching for words to describe a notion, an idea, that he had just started to be able to put together.
"An heir?" the old man sputtered. "But he only had one child, and that son died years ago. It can't mean Rex had more than one child."
Rex. Finn had been waiting for him to say that name. He'd heard that name only once or twice before, and knew hardly anything about the mysterious man. Rex Ruby was the leader of what became known as the Red Scroll Network, a group that organized an effort to take advantage of war-torn Europe. They systematically raped and pillaged several countries of their precious works of art, jewels, and anything of value left unsecured as the countries fought off their more visible enemies. Ruthlessly, they'd befriend wealthy citizens and pretend to smuggle out their jewels, their priceless paintings and sculptures, and keep them for them in America. Then help them escape, and the treasure would be waiting for them to help kickstart their new lives in the New World. Then the network would just disappear with their loot and leave the trusting people without a dime, and nothing to help them against their enemies as they were rounded up and killed or taken as prisoners of war. And there's no coincidence about the red scroll on that silver gun of Lane's nightmares. This same Rex once held that lethal gun in his own hands.
"No, we're as sure as we can be that Rex had only one child, that son you mentioned. But was it possible that he had grandchildren?"
asked Finn.
"Oh, God,"
said Miles, pulling so deeply on his cigarette that Finn worried he'd burn his lips as the burning ashes made their way up the cigarette at an alarming rate. Miles's hands shook even more violently. In fact, the embers did burn his lips, and with a shocked reflex, Miles abruptly brushed the offending stub away. He was irritated from the unexpected spasm from the burn, but that momentary sharp pain seemed to clear his head. Finn watched him with fascination as emotions swept across his face. Miles tilted his head and pursed his lips as if giving ear to advice or a deep consideration, and something altered in his haunted eyes. Resolve made a spark, albeit small, come out of those shifty eyes. He suddenly seemed more human, more aware and alive. Miles started talking faster, still with a heavy rasp, like he'd grown up in the coal mines. But the cogs of his mind were really moving now.
"All right, Finn. I've wondered for years why I was left here alive. Yeah, might as well do something besides just survive. It seems hardly substantial, but right now the only lead I can give you is that Rex Ruby worked closely with an architect who did some work in New York City, and a few other major cities in America. Rex loved to be in the spotlight. Well, that's not actually accurate. He didn't want a lot of attention, but he wanted...